What I want to show you is what I call the holy grail of lead gen strategies. The reason that I call it the holy grail is that it ticks a bunch of boxes that are important to me. Now, these may not necessarily be important to you, but they are important to me, and they're probably important to a lot of people. So what the holy grail lead generation means is that, one, it's consistent. In other words, it is bringing you leads day after day. It's not like posting shorts, for example. Like if you post shorts or reels on Instagram and you happen to get one that goes viral and all of a sudden you get a bunch of leads that day, but then you can't replicate that, and for the next month you're totally dry. Like that's inconsistent lead flow. I prefer to have consistent lead flow that I can set my clock to, that I can predict what's going to happen tomorrow. Second is that it runs in the background. So I'm not having to sit there and pound the pavement. I'm not having to send a bunch of messages every single day and type out a whole bunch of messages, and I'm not having to post on social media every day, that kind of thing. It's just I set up the system and then it runs and it brings me leads without me having to do anything. Third is that it brings in quality leads. So you can get all the leads in the world, but if they're not the type of people that are able or willing to buy from you, then they're not much good, right? So leads by themselves are worthless unless they are actually good leads. That's what I mean by this. And then pre-sold leads. This means that the leads that are coming in are actually interested in hearing from you and actually want to buy from you. This is different than what I'm saying when I say quality leads. I mean, quality leads, I mean, they're the right people, like the right type of person. So for example, for me, I sell to business owners. And so for me, if somebody is not a business owner, they would not be a quality lead. That said, if I go into the pre-sold leads, well, I could buy a big list of business owners and then I could send them cold text messages and they could all tell me to F off. Those are not pre-sold leads. They are quality leads, but they're not pre-sold leads. Pre-sold means that they actually want to hear from me and they actually want to buy from me before I ever actually go and talk to them. And then finally, and this is a really big one, it's fast. Like it's fast to set up. There are a whole bunch of lead gen methods that do work, but they take ages to actually get to the point where they work. For example, if you do search engine optimization, you get your listing to the top of the rankings on Google. Well, okay, that's great if you can do it. The problem is that you have to optimize your page and then you're having to build backlinks for, like you pay somebody to build backlinks for you for 3 months, and then you hope that you're at the end of 3 months, you're at the top page of Google, but you don't know that, and maybe not, and maybe you have to pay for another 3 months, and like it takes a long time. Or if you want to build a social media following, if you want to build a YouTube channel, those are amazing lead sources if you can get them to work, but it takes a really long time. So nothing against those things. And I do that myself, obviously, because I'm on YouTube, but that's just, it doesn't qualify. Like that's not something that's going to make you any money for the foreseeable future. It's something that's a very long-term play. The Holy Grail lead generation method is fast. That's important. Like you can get it set up quickly. Now, just to show you that I'm not just blowing smoke, that I actually have created this, I've figured this out. This is my Kartra, which is my CRM system, and it's basically my all-in-one marketing software, which is amazing. I love Kartra. Anyway, so this is just in my database right now. I've got almost 15,000 leads, and I've deleted a lot of them. Probably over the history of lead generation, I've generated at least 50,000, probably more. 497 leads I generated just in the last 30 days alone. 17 on average per day is what I'm getting. Like on an average day, I get 17 leads. And then those leads are worth an average of $42 to me. I'm paying an average of about $8 per lead. And then each of those leads that I'm paying $8 for, I'm getting $42 back. So I pay $8, I get $42. So that's a little bit over a 5x return on ad spend. So this is working. Like this is real. I want to make that clear because there's a lot of people out there that make a lot of big claims, but I want to show you that this is absolutely working, and it's working right now. This isn't something that, oh, it worked 5 years ago and I've never got to work again. Like, no, I'm running this exact process exactly now. Okay, so let me show you exactly what this process is. It's actually dead simple. It's YouTube ads run to an opt-in page to a lead magnet or VSL. That's it. Let me tell you in a little bit more depth. So I run YouTube ads, which are distinct from a regular YouTube video. YouTube ads are the things that everybody hates, that when you're watching a YouTube video and then all of a sudden some ad video pops up and says, hey, are you this kind of person? Would you like this kind of thing? And then you skip it as fast as you can. Well, most of the time you skip it as fast as you can. But I've come up with a YouTube ad strategy that gets people's attention and actually gets them more interested in the ad than the thing that they were originally watching. So I make my case for why they should be interested in my thing in the ad, and then I tell them to click, and then they click and go to an opt-in page. An opt-in page is a dead simple web page that just has a headline and a form, basically, and it says, enter your information here in order to get something, like in return for a free training, for example. I'll show you one of my opt-in pages that I'm running right now. This is it. Like it's like a headline, a sub-headline, a form, a button. That's it. Like that's the whole thing. You don't need to overcomplicate this. It's dead simple. So that's what an opt-in page looks like. And then once they opt in, once they give you their information, in return, you give them a lead magnet or a VSL. VSL means video sales letter. A lead magnet, in this case, being something that you give them for free in return for filling out your form. And this should be something relevant to the offer that you have. So if I go over here, this is a free PDF for how to get qualified leads on autopilot with dead simple YouTube ads, which is actually very similar to what I'm teaching you right now. So I'm offering to show them my strategy. I'm offering to educate them for free, essentially, in return for them filling out their information. Now, there's two ways that you can do this, and I'm going to get into this in a minute, depending on what type of business you have, which is why I said lead magnet or VSL, because sometimes you have a business where having a lead magnet, like teaching them something, it just doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. So we want to go a little more direct. I'll get into that in just a second. But first, I want to show you why this dead simple little 3-step process checks all the boxes of the Holy Grail here. First of all, it's consistent. You're just paying money to YouTube ads. So you say, I want to spend $50 a day, for example, and you get more or less the same number of views per day because you're spending the same amount of money per day. And then your numbers average out. So like your opt-in rate averages out over those numbers. And so you get a consistent number of leads every day. Now you do have some good days and some bad days. So my average I showed you is 17 per day these days over the last month. So, one day I'll get 15, another day I'll get 20. So it's, it does vary a little bit, but it's remarkably consistent over the long run. And then it runs in the background. So YouTube ads, you set up the ad and it just runs. You don't have to, it's not like having a YouTube channel where you're constantly having to upload new YouTube videos. It's just you run it once and you create it once, rather. You start it running and it just keeps on going. And then the rest of this is automated, right? So people are clicking the link themselves. They're opting in themselves, and they're looking at your lead magnet or they're watching your VSL by themselves. You don't have to do any of that. There's nothing that you have to do there. So this whole thing is running in the background with you doing nothing. The leads are just coming in with you doing absolutely nothing. The quality leads are because you can target the right people on the YouTube ads dashboard. So you can say, I want people that are in the top 10% income bracket within this particular geographic area, within this state, city, country, zip code, whatever, and that are interested in business advertising, or in my case, I can target people that are actually looking for advertising services. So YouTube is owned by Google, and Google knows just about everything about everybody. It's kind of scary. So you can target exactly the people that are the highest quality and are most likely to buy from you. Now, the next is pre-sold. So in a YouTube ad is a video. So you get to talk about why your method or your product is the best. You can actually pitch them on the thing in the ad. And then you're also doing it again in your lead magnet, in your VSL. You're teaching them about why your method works or about why your product is better than the other guy. So you're pre-selling them in this process that runs in the background before you ever actually have a conversation with any of them. And then finally, it's fast. I can set up this whole thing in a day. Like, I've done it a bunch of times. If you haven't done this before, then it'll probably take you a little bit longer, but you can do it in a few days. It's dead simple to get set up. You get it set up really fast and literally get leads the same day that you push play on it. It's not like SEO or trying to build a following or something that takes months. Like, you can literally get leads the very same day that you set it up. It's that fast. And I'm not exaggerating. And by the way, if you would like me to build out this whole thing for you, then I'll put in a link in the description where you can apply and book a call with me, and we'll talk about whether or not that makes sense. Because I do this day in and day out. It's like second nature to me. Okay, now let me get into the steps of how exactly you build this out. Step one is you want to create your lead magnet or VSL. So before we actually create anything, the first thing we want to ask ourselves is, do we want to go direct or do we want to go indirect? This is a really important distinction that I don't hear people talking about very often, but you got to think about the ideal audience, the people that you want to talk to. Are they looking to do the thing themselves, or are they looking to get somebody to do it for them? This is really important. So for this, for example, this lead magnet is a PDF teaching them how to get leads with YouTube ads. This is for somebody that wants to do it themselves. If they don't care about doing themselves and they just want somebody to do it for them, then they're not going to be interested in a guide that shows them how to do it, right? They're just going to want to know, the details of your offer and how you can do it for them. So when I say lead magnet or VSL, I mean, this is a lead magnet. I'm going to teach you something for free. Well, if the person just wants it done for them, they don't want to be taught, right? They just want to know what's your offer. So the VSL, I mean, I'm just going to tell you about the offer. So I'm saying, hey, click here and opt in, and I'm going to send you a quick sheet that shows you exactly what I offer. Now, one quick caveat here is that we want to consider this from the perspective of the audience, not the perspective of what you specifically have to offer. So where that's important is when you have, it may be that your offer is to do it for them, but your audience doesn't want someone to do it for them. They want to do it themselves. If that's the case, then what you can do is you can have a lead magnet that teaches them how to do it, but teaches it in such a way that shows that this thing is hard. It requires expertise. It requires experience. And if you try to do it yourself, you're going to have a bad time, right? So you're giving them the thing that they want or that they think they want, which is here's how to do it. But you're kind of turning it on them and you're showing them, honestly, here's how it's done, but in such a way as they kind of think, okay, yeah, I should probably just hire an expert because this is difficult. Anyway, so once you figure out whether you want direct or indirect, then you figure out what is the actual thing that you're going to give. So if it's direct, then basically it's just a video that's describing your offer. Pretty simple. If it's indirect, you got to figure out what is going to be the most enticing lead magnet for the sort of people that I want to attract. And this is important for this part too, with getting quality leads. if you have the wrong lead magnet, you might end up attracting the wrong audience. So you think, what is the thing that my ideal client wants? Like what do they most want to learn about? So if I mean, and something obviously that builds your expertise as well. So for me, I mean, my ideal client, well, they want leads and they want sales, and so I'm just going to show them how to do it. Pretty easy. Okay. Now step 2, once you have your lead magnet, and by the way, for the creation of this, if you have just a document, you can literally just type up a document in Microsoft Word and export it to PDF, and there's your lead magnet. You can have a lead magnet that ChatGPT creates for you if you want. I don't actually recommend it, just because part of the purpose of the lead magnet is not only, it's called a lead magnet, is like it's this thing that I'm gonna give you in return for you giving me your information, but it's also something that nurtures the person. It's what pre-sells them. So you want your lead magnet to be really good, and you also want it to be unique. So if it's just kind of basic AI generated stuff, then okay, it works for getting the lead, but it doesn't do a whole lot of good for pre-selling the lead. Okay, so you got your lead magnet, and then the next step is you want to script your ads. You want to write out exactly what you are going to say in your ad videos. And you don't necessarily have to be the one that's saying it yourself, but you want to script out exactly what the ad says. And I like to be very intentional about this. I will never record an ad video just kind of off the top of my head. I've literally never done that before. Maybe I'll try someday, because you can always be surprised, but generally you want to consider that with a YouTube ad, or any kind of ad for that matter, nobody actually wants to watch an ad. And if you're on Facebook, or if you're on TV, like nobody wants to watch a TV commercial. Nobody wants to read your Facebook ad. Like nobody wants the ad. So in order for the ad to be effective, you have to grab people's attention really quick. And in order to do that, you got to be very intentional about what you say in the ad. The way that I do this, and I've got a whole video on this, by the way, which you can follow my channel. You can take a look around if you want to see how to create ads that work on YouTube. And the principle is very similar with other platforms too. The first part, like the first sentence of the ad, has to hook people's attention, has to really get their interest immediately. And then from there, you have to qualify people. So you have to figure out, like, you want to keep the people's attention that are quality leads, and you want to get rid of the people's attention that are not quality leads. Then you've got to build up their interest. You got to get them interested in the thing that you have to offer. Then you have to, and like a great way to do that, by the way, this is kind of my big secret, is a good mechanism. That is, explain why the thing that you have to offer is the best way for them to solve their problem, which, by the way, here's an example of it right here. I just explained this whole Holy Grail thing was explaining why my lead gen method is the best lead gen method. You want to do that for whatever it is that you're selling. You want to do that in your ad. You want to give a compelling, logical reason for why your thing is the best solution to their problem. And then finally, you do a call to action, which is, hey, if you're interested, click this link and sign up on the next page. Just tell them what to do next. So again, that's like a super short summary. I've got very in-depth trainings on how to do this on my channel if you want to check that out. Step 3 is to create your ad videos. So that could be that you record them. Just what I usually do. I mean, you could record on a phone if you want. Just speak the script into your phone. You could have AI create the videos. That works fine too. You could hire a professional spokesman to do it for you. There's the way that you do it doesn't make a whole lot of difference. What's really important is that the script is good. Like, this part is really, really important. This part is, I mean, it has to turn into a video somehow, so it's important. But like the way that you do it, whether it's an AI voice talking or if it's you on camera, it doesn't matter a whole lot. But you need to turn that into actual videos. And I have like in-depth tutorials on how to do this on my channel if you want to know in more detail. Step 4 then is to set up your funnel. That is essentially just these 2 pages. So you have and the automations that go with them. So you set up your opt-in page. Again, this Kartra, this system that I use, this is what I do for like everything. I can set up the entire funnel in Kartra. If you're interested in Kartra, by the way, just go to chrisshoop.com/Kartra and get a 14-day free trial. So what the funnel entails is just this opt-in page and then the page after it, which is you're generally going to have a video on that page, and then chances are it's going to be like whatever's the next step in your sales process, which I haven't gone into in this video because I'm only talking about lead gen. But ideally, you want something that's going to turn those leads into actual sales. So you have a VSL, for example, a video that's saying, hey, here's what my offer is. And then you say, if you're interested, then click the button below to apply and book a call with me, for example. Or, maybe you say, just give me a call at this phone number, whatever your next step is, you're going to put on there. So it's just 2 pages. It's the opt-in page, and then it's the page after they've opted in. And then you may want to also send an automatic email as well, especially if you're like me with this one where I'm offering a free PDF. Well, if I'm offering a free PDF, then I have to give them the PDF, and I would rather not have to do that manually. So again, in Kartra, I have that set up so it shoots off that PDF, an email containing that PDF automatically. And then finally, the last step is to create your ad campaigns. That is to take these videos that you created in step 3, set them up into ad campaigns that send people to the funnel from step 4. There's a whole lot of settings and a whole lot of nuance in how you set up your ad campaigns. That's like the whole ad platform. Here's what it looks like. You click and create a new ad campaign. There's a whole bunch of different settings. Again, I'm feeling like a broken record here, but I've got a very detailed training on how to do this in my YouTube channel if you want to go into that. But the most important thing about creating your ad campaigns is choosing the targeting. In other words, choosing who you want to see your ads. And there's so many options in YouTube ads. Like you can target people based on their demographics, based on where they live, based on their income, based on what they're interested in, based on what they've been searching in Google, based on what they're in the market for, so what they're currently looking for, which is a really powerful one, because if you can just show your ads directly to the people that are already looking for what you have to offer, that's like the lowest hanging fruit. Those are the easiest sales. So you're going to create your ad campaigns, and that's it. Like that's the last part. Again, I have videos on my channel for how to do every one of these steps. So if you're interested, then take a look around. Like if you need more detail on any of these, then take a look around. Or if you would like me to do this for you, then that's what I do. I don't work with everybody, but if you would like to explore having me do this for you, I'll put a link in the description where you can apply and book a call with me or my team, and we'll talk about what specifically we could do for you, whether or not it would be a fit for you, because the truth is this doesn't work for every kind of business in the world. It works much better for some businesses than others. And I'm totally upfront about that. I'm totally transparent. If I don't think that'll work for you, I'll tell you I don't think it'll work for you. And I'll do my best to point you in the right direction and say, hey, this other thing would probably work better. So that's what I would recommend in your case. So if you're interested, there's a link in the description. Thanks for watching, and give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you found this helpful, and I'll see you in the next one.